All right, Morel. I was sent here by your wife. What's going on?
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
Oh, what was it they were grabbing here? Because I talked to what's his face over there, the fascist criminal guy. They were catching. Are they catching like crabs or something? I don't remember.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Although he's a cryptozoologist, he's likely catching some kind of weird animal, like pretend animal.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officer.
You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to come back.
Hey, of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass, not like walking over a nice water lock.
Yeah, that was me. I broke the water lock with my motor carriage, but it's fixed now. You can go back, or it's been fixed. It was fine when I crossed it. Yeah, maybe go with that one. You don't, it's not a lie. You're just not telling the whole truth.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long. I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we go in.
Phasmid? So like a cryptid, but it's a phantasm, maybe? He refastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind. Can you catch like something fantastical, phantasmery, whatever the adjective form would be, in a net?
His hands are large and weather-worn, but also used to delicate, precise work. For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
What makes it so difficult to find?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there?
So you're saying any one of these could be your ghost insect?
And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators or scientists in our present case.
What sorts of specialized techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex.
Because of all the stuff I learned about the Pale, I'm inclined to believe that some of these crazy things might exist, but still, it does often feel like, he can just make up whatever and then explain it away.
But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
Is it a live specimen if it's an actual ghost? Also, ghost insect, so you're ghost hunters.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid.
How big is it?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
He leaves the conclusion up to you. Okay. Why are you so interested in the stick bug? It doesn't seem to be as colorful as some of the other cryptids I've heard about.
Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defenses, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
Shakes his head. All right, well, what have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say.
Of course.
No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So no one's ever found one.
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
But if no one can prove it exists, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
The cryptozoologist says, brusquely enough that even he seems taken aback by it.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
Lena said that there has been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
He's saying the sewage killed off your ghost. Alright, maybe the Insulindian phasmid has died out?
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
What other things can this do? Also, God, you know what? I'm not going to ask more.
He means asexual reproduction.
I know, thank
The
you.
females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
It's pretty clever. Oh, this is the feminist one. The male is a deficient life form. The world would be better off if women didn't need men to reproduce. Or a crime against passion and common sense. Alright, be feminist.
Nature does not concern herself with ethical propositions. As a scientist, my interest is strictly dispassionate.
Alright, well, if it is a ghost, what kind of traps are you using?
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
So Lena designed these.
Yes,
How do they work?
simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out.
Very much like a crab trap, right? Or lobster trap or whatever.
At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
Now it's delicate. You just said it was so strong. Alright, what you're using as bait? Well, he did say locusts, but
Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
so the animal you've never actually captured and know nothing really about. You say all of the ones known, which you don't know about, are herbivores, but maybe this one's not. Okay.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
A carnivorous stick insect? Seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
And if these traps don't work,
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams. which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
All right, let's move on.
Yes. What?
How did you become a cryptozoologist?
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
Why not just be a zoologist? Real animals are puzzling too.
Real.
Hey,
I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
okay, but have you made money off of this? How do you survive? It does seem like a lot of wishful thinking.
My methods are the same as those of other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence, and I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
Life surprises are mostly miserable.
Agreed. Yet there is always a chance, albeit a small one, of a truly good surprise. One simply needs to look at the history of science. Serendipities abound.
And has anything truly surprising ever happened to you?
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close in.
Oh,
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
I pressed the button too soon. I thought for a second he was done talking because the line reading on that one was a little bit different from what was typed. Okay, he talks about having all this evidence. What kinds of evidence?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
Hey, but that's still all hearsay. And there's nothing like just people who like you ask people anything about something that they've experienced or seen, and more often than not they come up with like something completely wrong. Like, you know, you can't trust like police sketches, and like you can't trust eyewitness accounts because people's memories are faulty. That's just the nature of memory. So
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
you think other scientists don't listen to ordinary people enough?
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places.
So you have never discovered a cryptid?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
But if no one ever finds them, doesn't that tell you that the evidence is pointing towards them not existing? How many cryptids have been found?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes.
Okay, but how many have been found? So half of all cryptids known are known to have been not just not real, but also hoaxes, like made up.
2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Come on, Morel, only 2 have been proven to be real.
Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
2 out of 4,000 is not even 1%. Oh, this one will be the 3rd. Yeah, it's not even 1%. I gotta go with that.
In fact, it is 0.05%. Ever more magnificent, should our search contribute to making that number 0.075%.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Alright, so you're out here living your childhood dream.
It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
His eyes narrow. Okay, something else.
Yes?
Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
He looks south, where Lena would be.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Oh, you don't want a case of reed crabs. I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
Really? She's sighted this phasmid. She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Also, I just realized I don't have Kim with me, so I could go back and ask Lena about all of the different cryptids.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Morel, are you ill? Maybe you shouldn't be out here in the rain. Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check the traps later? You should give up. Yeah, just go take care of yourself for now.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
You put plenty of bugs in there. It's not going to eat that much, is it? And you guys could take it in turns to come out and check them.
He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting.
God, he is going to ask me, isn't he? What if I check the traps for you?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Chaos is my method. I am its scion. I do kind of like that answer. Yeah.
Well, be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help.
What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of the traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
Alright, where are these traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them...
He gestures to the trap in front of him.
You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
And what if I encounter the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed.
What are the pheromones? You've never even found this creature.
It's made of musk and research chemicals.
Research
The
chemicals.
pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
What is a research chemical? Alright, I guess. Lay it on me.
Wise choice.
He douses you with the odd-smelling spray and then gives you a satisfied nod.
It's not so different from the putrefaction of the hanged man, actually.
Well, I mean, I still have his goop on my hands, so... I'm ready. Let's get to it.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask.
Finally, you're being sensible. I'll start packing right now.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later, too.
Yeah, but I'm almost at 2100, so I've almost got enough time up so I can go to see, what's his name? The smoker.
But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
Okay, tell me about specific cryptids.
All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it, since you've offered to help.
Oh, if I hadn't actually offered to help, he wouldn't talk down this line, huh?
You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena, or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
So I can't just say, which cryptid did you almost catch? I know about Cryobacter catlensis.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time.
He coughs in his fist.
Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nong-Ok.
The Nanong-Ok?
A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nong-Ok to run faster than any other avian, perhaps any other animal, who knows.
A long-legged owl that runs, huh?
When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the ok hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared.
I was really sure he was going to say that the animal, dropped down and killed her. When did she disappear?
Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side.
I think this is the only other one I can ask about. Gary told me about the burning rhino.
Did he? That one's a hoax. Some Seraise rice farmers set fire to rhinoceros cadavers and use them to scare tourists.
Have you told Gary about this?
Many times. It always turns into an argument. I don't want to repeat it. The rhino holds a special place in his heart. Let it. Myths are part of my field.
And if the other cryptids are hoaxes too?
Many of them probably are. Statistically speaking, about 20% of all cryptids are verified hoaxes.
I thought you said 50%.
Uncovering falsehoods deliberately fabricated to fool the public is just as much my calling as finding new species.
You said there were 4,000 something and 2,000 of them were fake. Confirmed hoaxes.
If perhaps slightly less enjoyable.
I knew it couldn't be real.
Did you? It is almost as difficult to confirm a hoax as it is to confirm a sighting.
So I can ask Lena about the other ones and then talk to him again. Alright, enough tales then.
By all means.
Did you know that Gary was hiding this armor?
Hell no. I had no idea. And I'm still cross with him, to be honest. It's not like him. He's got his quirks, but dishonesty, disloyalty are not one of them.
Thanks.
The man mutters in the distance. He doesn't dare say more. Alright, I'll get going. Let's check. Inspect the traps. So, far northeast of the Feld building. The one he just set up. Near the boathouse is west of the Feld building. And near the canal. Was the Feld building? That was this big building, wasn't it? Was this Feld up here? Let's try down here, because he did say it was near the boathouses. Ah, there it is.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring.
Alright, let's take a look.
Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidently.
Any one of them could be the stick bug, the phantasm ghost stick bug. Alright, reach for the trap.
Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Oh, shucks. Alright. Is he going to be gone now, since I've checked another one? Yep, so now I could come back and check this one.
This is the trap Morel just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality. But
Alright, look around.
the reeds hiss and shake in the darkness that has settled over the abandoned camp. It's good the cryptozoologists left. This isn't a very cozy place to stay night after night. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel strange, somehow.
Reach for it.
This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
There is another one to the northeast, he said, so that... I don't think it's... Oh, what is that? Ah, money! I probably have to go around this side of the building. They said it's up near Land's End. I don't think I went back here, did I? Though there may not be all that much back here anyway. What is this stuff? Okay, I'm just here for the trap. The other stuff I'll look at later. Maybe bring Kim back. Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll get this and put this on the list of things to come back to.
This trap's not too hard to spot, once you know what to look for. Keeping it hidden has not been a priority for the cryptozoologist.
Round?
The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. Snow specks the stalks. Most of it melts quickly, relinquishing form to darkness. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Also, I was just thinking, should I have Kim with me when I go see the smoker? I mean, I could probably do it on my own, but it would be good to have Kim with me. But, I don't want to wait for another day. Check the trap near the canal. Can I actually... I can't fast travel from here, can I? Have to be near the... What is that honking? I know. And I don't think that, even if I fast travel from the church, I don't think I could especially get closer to the, to where the trap's gonna be. Actually, maybe, now that I think about it, that might be a little bit closer. Try that. Although the fishing village might have been closer as well. got the crossing there. Exactly did it say? Near the canal, southeast of the village. There it is.
It takes you a moment, but finally you spot the last of Morel's traps. This one's partially obscured by the reeds.
Round?
The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Snow covers the broken stalks like a shroud, and they shimmer, ghostly, in the darkness. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold.
Reach for it.
The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here.
Are there no bugs in it? No, I see it right there. They're moving around. Look closer.
No locusts.
Really?
No phasmid either. But still.
Yell, it's empty! No, look closer.
Nothing. No traces of the locusts or the Insulindian phasmid. What happened?
I mean, another animal could have gotten in. Is the trap open or damaged?
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others. Like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Could have opened it back up.
The reeds continue to hiss around you as you put the empty trap back on the ground. Time to consult the professionals, Morel and Lena.
I'll do that, but first I have a smoker to talk to. I get to that place from over here. I probably have to go around, right? So let's chat with the smoker. Oh, I can go in this door right up here. I don't have to go all the way around to the back. Cindy got absolutely nothing to do, is still standing up there. He was on the outside. You hear distant traffic. Night is falling on the city. A maroon glow of light pollution rises from the east. This must be 28 right here.
This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security.
Knock, knock.
No one answers. Looks like he isn't home. You should come back tomorrow evening, after 2100.
Oh, it had to be tomorrow. Must have, brain farted on that. Yeah, because here it just says visit after 2100. Okay, well, I guess we're doing a full episode on cryptids today. So I'll go back and I can talk to Lena, find out more about these other cryptids. Talk to Morel, tell him about the traps. And hopefully that's going to be enough to get us up to 2200 so we can go do the communist meeting. Were these people here before? Oh. Just grab a bottle out from under him.
Boy, Am I ever so grateful to you, officer. But I'm not the only one who wants to thank you.
He nods towards Lena. I didn't realize that was this guy because the hair is white on the model but brown in his portrait. Alright, I'll talk to her then.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you.
I was just on my way. No, just doing my job, ma'am.
Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mexican origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
8-eyed Terratorn thigh. I wonder what that does for me.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes.
They don't normally come with that many.
You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Okay. You never told me you've seen the phasmid.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Oh, but I do.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
Darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on. Tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden...
Hey, where were you and how old were you?
I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
What happened?
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds.
Did you follow it?
I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me.
Then what?
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen.
Sounds like Grandma had a very rational response.
For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
Are you sure it wasn't just reeds and a gust of wind?
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
He looks at her with admiration, forgetting a wide smile on his face. So you guys were on a date?
Our first, yes.
The old woman looks at her husband tenderly.
The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express, even to him. Interesting.
Yeah. Its limbs are white?
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported. along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
How big was it?
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case.
I mean, presumably those reeds are taller than you, and if it looks like a reed, then... Or were taller than you back then, not are, as in now. Maybe you imagined it. You were 5.
How could she? Who imagines this? She didn't know about the phasmid. This is the main thing here. What makes it a confirmed sighting? She had no previous knowledge of the insect.
So she couldn't have made it up or imagined it.
That's true, yes. I'm almost certain neither my mother nor my grandmother knew of it. It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, Lena.
She lowers her voice, imitating a boy. Okay, but wait, before the continue here. If it looks like a reed, and it's always found in these kinds of reeds, it's camouflaged to look like a reed, it sounds like reeds in the wind, I don't think you necessarily need to know about it in advance to be able to imagine that this is a living thing. Because you're gonna kind of end up at the same result when you've got the same input.
You trying to tell us you saw the Insulindian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here. They just give me a cider and ruffle my hair and tell me to stop dreaming. But I saw it.
Well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
Tell me about some more cryptids.
Of course, dear. Is there a particular cryptid that you're interested in learning about?
How about this 8-eyed bird?
No. It's the cryptid.
The cryptid?
Oh, yes.
The small silvery skull shines between your fingers, its beak sharp. Okay, what is this bird?
The 8-eyed teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said. Until...
Mutation? All of evolution is a mutation.
Until
it was sighted by renowned Gottwaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
Is this one of the confirmed ones?
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue comes up completely empty. But, of course, you are not all-knowing.
I do have a pretty high encyclopedia rating. I'm very good at dumb trivia. Alright, I need to hear about this.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamrau Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm.
Okay, and Oamrau is...
The world's largest canyon system, sweetie. It's a barren waste east of the Erg Desert. An ancient riverbed completely dried up.
What happened?
Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great blackbird, it seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uwe got there, the teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times.
So he was following it.
Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plattenkalk followed the teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall where the bird finally landed to rest. The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist. Then the Tetatorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get closer to the bird.
Does it have some kind of paranatural ability? Why?
The bird was controlling his mind,
Of course.
kept him from approaching. He could step back, but every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uva spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away.
Okay. Yeah, he was dying of thirst, and he spent 3 days trying to do this, presumably still dying of thirst. Hold on, how did he survive to tell the story?
The 8-eyed Tetatorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind.
An 8-eyed mind-controlling bird? No way.
Yes way, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since. But Wamrau is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets.
Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one by the end of the decade, latest.
So that was the last anyone saw of it.
Sadly, yes. But there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Ilmara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes.
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
Very, very hard.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know?
Yeah, what's the biggest one?
That would be the giant of Kokonur.
She says as if it's common knowledge.
The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes.
What is the strange light?
Mirage or a psychogenous luminance.
She does not elaborate the nature of this luminance farther. And how big is it?
No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision.
Is it dangerous?
The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable. That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur Desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
If you have to come up with some kind of crazy explanation, more than likely it's not real. What is that that law? I forget the law, the name. It's like a person's name, somebody's law, or like something along those lines, where basically that if it's just the easiest explanation possible that is the one most likely to be true.
Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
You two conceptualization. You an inland empire. What's the most dangerous cryptid?
The gnome of Jeroma.
Yeah, that honestly doesn't sound too bad.
Oh, it is. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue.
And what does it look like?
It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
Are there any photos?
Alas, no. And the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom.
And let me guess, it turned to goop.
Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
That's a very convenient way to... Okay.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
Very much so. Seems very convenient that it was just disappeared and nothing like it was seen again.
I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again.
How about invisible cryptids?
What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Okay.
The Col de Mama d'Aqua, or Thin Whisper of Sound. And that's precisely what it seems to be. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. It's very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
I wonder if I had asked this question earlier instead of asking about whichever cryptid I did ask about with Kim here. If I'd asked about this one and I had then gone and talked to Sona, if I could have suggested the Col de Mama d'Aqua is what her sound is.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
We do have machines that can pick up sounds. Like, we've got, the karaoke machine over there. We could probably just wire up some stuff to that and use it. Okay, how can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory.
Could it be here? Right now?
It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights.
What's the evidence?
Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 1920s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds.
Songbirds?
The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mama d'Aqua, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent.
Go on.
They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them.
Name them.
Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mamadakwa they followed individually.
So they're not just invisible, they're birds. I mean, they are invisible, supposedly. Why is the Mamadakwa so afraid of us?
That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction.
Extinction.
They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadakwas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear?
I mean, if it's the exact same frequency, you're going to have... It's just going to be louder. Maybe you're thinking of like opposing frequencies, like if the peaks and valleys of the troughs of the waveforms are completely the opposites, they would cancel out. It's like the idea behind like noise canceling headphones or something.
Psst. They cancel each other out.
Yeah, okay, I get it. They cancel each other out.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Mamadakwa population anywhere.
Interesting.
What about what?
Man, I just can't get enough.
I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about all of them. You should ask my husband if you get the chance. He's the real expert.
That's all for now.
I couldn't possibly shower thanks on you as enthusiastically as my wife has, but I am grateful for your assistance, officer.
I've checked all of your traps.
Good. Okay. And?
One of them was empty.
Completely empty?
Oh, God. his eyes grow wide. Yes, there was nothing in the trap. No locusts, no phasmid.
No locusts? No phasmid either?
That's not ideal, but...
He rubs his chin.
It just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct them.
Yes, the Phantasmodea picked off the locust and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds.
That's exactly what it is. What a deft hunter. It's not very scientific to reason backward from a conclusion you want to be true. Yeah.
I appreciate your concern, officer, but please leave this to the experts. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture.
Well, I mean, like I was saying earlier, it did look like someone had picked it up and jostled it or whatever, and weren't some of the bits of netting kind of loose? Maybe the locust squeezed out.
You're jabbing at the soft underbelly of his psyche. He realizes he's gotten defensive.
Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is yours.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened? Some kind of foul play might be afoot. Theft?
Oh, I insulted him, so I get a -1. 92% though. I have a very good chance of this one. I'm not going to say it's for sure because, last time I did that. Develop an alternative theory about the missing locusts.
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy,
Oh, no.
Kuno.
I think a little hooligan called Kuno may have stolen the locusts.
A little hooligan? But what would a child want with bugs?
Probably to, pull their wings off and, kill them slowly.
Oh, my dear Morel, you've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
See, she gets it. I'll talk to the little gremlin and see if anything comes up.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
After this is your last chance to talk to Gary.
Okay.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs.
He looks at his tea.
Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologise, Geary. You'd be more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though. We're gonna follow this through.
So if you didn't get the armor from him, this would be the final chance. If I come to your home, I respect your way of life, right?
Very generous of you to help us out, officer. I'm sure glad to be back from that little excursion.
Guess I don't really have anything else to ask him. Alright, goodbye!
Was that? Could it be? The Coldamama Dakwa? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear.
Perception, can you get in on this? Also, isn't it ultrasonic? It's way above my hearing range. Is it? Is there a ringing? Listen more closely.
There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring.
Tinnitus.
Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like something tickles your ear. Lena also said that it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including humans. What you're hearing must just be a regular bird.
Thank you, logic.
Honestly, your ear isn't hearing a whole lot.
Thank you,
The
perception.
distant hum of the industrial harbor, the traffic. But, admittedly, there is a high-pitched noise somewhere there too. But then, isn't there always?
Listen closely.
There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species.
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, but how are you going to catch it?
Keep listening.
It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come toward you.
Alright, move your head towards the sound.
Oh no. The sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it.
You got anything better than somewhere over there?
No. Too late. It's gone. There is no ringing anymore. Just the sound of the streets.
Either no, please come back, or go then. Leave. Leave like everything else. Alright, come back.
Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again.
Alright, the tie. Eight-eyed Terratorn tie, +1 Inland Empire, and +1 Volition. Oh. Octuple vision and cryptid's protection. A slender bolo tie held together by an antique clasp in the shape of a bird skull. The skull features 8 cavities for eyes. It's disturbing, but you can't look away. Gives me Inland Empire and Volition, and that's just drama. And my drama is already pretty good. The Inland Empire and Volition would be nice to have more of. That brings me to 5 and 4. Not bad. Even if I do have drama back down a bit. Oh, my physical instrument is 0. God. Also, before I go from here, what am I doing on these two? I've got 7 hours, 2 hours, and Golda Mama Dakwa. It's a 7-hour one, no research bonus. You heard it, the mysterious Golda Mama Dakwa. You're certain that you did. Well, maybe not quite certain, but let's say you're hopeful. Because it would make you very special to be the only human being who can hear this invisible incorporeal bird, this inanimate whisper, this particle of sound. You're going to have to keep listening. Sharpen your ear. Is that something I want to do? I've got everything filled up. I'll have to decide what I might want to get rid of, or if I want to get rid of anything. Well, we're going to go up towards Kuno, but that's just about time for today. So next time we'll talk to Kuno, and that should also get us up to 22 so we can go to the communist meeting. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. Good night.